Miller directed her with a sharp gesture to stand by the front of her car, his gaze never leaving her. Davies, meanwhile, began a perfunctory search of the car's interior, his movements quick and dismissive. Maya felt a wave of profound humiliation wash over her. Passers-by in their vehicles slowed down as they approached, their gazes a disconcerting mix of morbid curiosity and palpable discomfort. Not a single one intervened, each car a fleeting window into her public ordeal. She felt exposed, like a spectacle, a criminal on display for reasons unknown, having committed no discernible crime. The silence of the desert seemed to amplify her vulnerability. "Place your hands on the hood," Miller commanded, his voice utterly devoid of any warmth or human consideration. Maya wordlessly obeyed, her mind racing, desperately trying to piece together the reason for this degrading treatment. What were they looking for? Why were they treating her with such blatant disregard? The injustice of the situation burned in her throat, making it difficult to swallow past the lump of fear and anger that had formed there. Miller began to pat her down, his touch impersonal and rough, bordering on invasive. Maya closed her eyes tightly, focusing on maintaining a semblance of calm amidst the rising tide of panic and indignation. This wasn't a routine traffic stop. It was an exercise in power, a blatant display of prejudice that cut deep. The weight of history, of countless similar encounters faced by Black Americans, pressed down on her, a suffocating burden of systemic injustice. As Davies finished his cursory search of her car's interior, Miller moved his attention to her purse, which lay on the passenger seat. With a careless disregard, he emptied its contents onto the dusty hood of her car. Her wallet, her keys, her phone, a well-worn paperback novel she had been reading in her lunch breaks. It felt like a profound violation, her private life and personal belongings exposed for their unwarranted scrutiny. Suddenly, Davies pointed a gloved finger at a small, clear plastic bag containing a few white pills that had spilled out amongst her belongings. "What's this?" he demanded, his voice sharp with immediate accusation, his eyes gleaming with a predatory satisfaction. Maya's blood ran cold. A wave of nausea washed over her. "That's not mine. I've never seen that before in my life." Her voice trembled despite her desperate efforts to maintain a semblance of composure. In that horrifying instant, she knew with a sickening certainty that they were attempting to frame her, planting evidence to justify their unwarranted stop and aggressive behavior. Miller's eyes narrowed, his gaze hardening with suspicion. "Don't lie to us, ma'am. This was in your purse." His tone implied that her denial was futile, that her word held no weight against their preconceived notions. But it wasn't. Maya insisted, her voice rising in desperation, the injustice of the accusation lending it a raw urgency. "Please, you have to believe me. I have no idea where that came from." Just then, the deep rumble of multiple motorcycle engines shattered the tense silence that had enveloped the scene. A group of 5 bikers, clad in worn leather jackets and full-face helmets, slowed to a stop on the shoulder of the highway, a short distance behind the 2 police cruisers. Their unexpected presence was a stark disruption to the unfolding drama, their dark, imposing figures a stark contrast to the bright, sun-drenched Arizona landscape. The bikers watched the scene unfold with keen interest, their gazes fixed on the interaction between the officers and Maya. They saw a lone woman standing by her car, visibly distressed and seemingly compliant, while the 2 police officers appeared overly assertive and confrontational. An unspoken understanding passed between them, a silent acknowledgement of a potentially unjust situation. They wouldn't simply ride by and passively witness what appeared to be an abuse of power. The lead biker, a large man with a weathered face visible beneath his half-helmet, cut his engine, the sudden deceleration a clear signal of their intent. The others followed suit, the abrupt cessation of the roaring engines amplifying Maya's rising panic and the palpable tension in the air. Hank, the lead biker, removed his helmet, his gaze steady and unwavering as he addressed Officer Miller. "Everything all right here, officer?" His voice was calm and measured, yet it carried an unmistakable undercurrent of authority. a quiet challenge to the officer's actions. Miller straightened up, his initial annoyance at the interruption quickly giving way to a flicker of defensiveness. Routine traffic stop. Nothing to concern yourselves with. Just move along. His tone was dismissive, attempting to assert control over the unexpected witnesses. It doesn't look very routine to us. Another biker, a woman named Sarah, whose piercing gaze didn't waver from the scattered contents of Maya's purse and the incriminating plastic bag in Davy's hand, retorted, her voice laced with skepticism. The presence of the bikers seemed to visibly unsettle Davies. He shifted his weight uncomfortably, his eyes darting nervously around, avoiding direct eye contact with the bikers and Maya. Miller, however, remained outwardly defiant, though a subtle shift in his posture betrayed a growing unease. We have everything under control here. You need to move along immediately. This is an active investigation. But the bikers remained steadfast, their motorcycles forming an imposing barrier behind the police vehicles. Hank took a deliberate step closer, his gaze never leaving Miller's. "We'll wait and see," he stated firmly, his words carrying the weight of their collective presence. Maya felt a fragile flicker of hope ignite within her chest. These strangers, these unexpected guardians, were seeing what was happening. They were acknowledging the injustice she was experiencing, their silent witness, a powerful validation of her distress. Davies began to glance around nervously, as if searching for non-existent witnesses who could corroborate their fabricated narrative. Miller, realizing that the situation was rapidly escalating beyond his control, tried to reassert his authority with a sharper edge. "You are obstructing a police investigation. You need to leave immediately, or you will be facing charges yourselves." "We have a right to observe," Hank replied calmly but resolutely. "We are not interfering with anything. We are simply ensuring that justice is served." One of the younger bikers, a man named Jake with a quick wit and an even quicker understanding of the power of documentation, discreetly pulled out his smartphone and began to record the encounter, capturing the officer's demeanor, Maya's distress, and the presence of the suspicious plastic bag. In this digital age, they knew irrefutable evidence was often the most powerful weapon against the abuse of power. Another biker, a quiet and observant man named Carlos, approached Maya slowly, his eyes conveying a deep sense of solidarity and understanding. "You're not alone," he murmured softly, his words a balm to her wounded spirit. "We're here for you." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes, a complex mixture of lingering fear and overwhelming relief. For the first time since the flashing lights had invaded her rearview mirror, she felt a glimmer of hope, a sense that she might not be entirely powerless against this injustice. Miller, acutely sensing the palpable shift in the power dynamic, the weight of their collective scrutiny pressing down on him, abruptly ordered Davies to gather Maya's scattered belongings. He spoke in clipped, terse tones, attempting to project an air of normalcy, as if nothing untoward had occurred. "Everything seems to be in order, ma'am. You're free to go." He avoided looking Maya directly in the eye, his gaze shifting uncomfortably. But the bikers stood their ground, their silent vigil unwavering. Hank addressed Miller again, his voice firm and resolute. "We saw the pills. We saw how you acted towards this woman. If anything at all happens to her, we will be witnesses. We will ensure that the truth comes to light." The weight of their united presence, the undeniable knowledge that their actions had been recorded, hung heavy in the desert air. Miller and Davies exchanged uneasy, furtive glances, the unspoken communication between them revealing their discomfiture. Their attempt at intimidation and potential fabrication had been thwarted by the unexpected intervention of these leather-clad strangers. Without another word, the two officers retreated to their patrol car, their movements hurried and uncoordinated. They offered no apology, no explanation for their actions. Their hasty departure spoke volumes, a tacit admission of their wrongdoing. Maya stood there by her car, her body still trembling slightly, but a newfound strength surged through her veins. She had been humiliated, targeted by prejudice, and nearly framed for a crime she didn't commit, but she had not been entirely powerless. These unexpected allies had seen her humanity, had believed her pleas of innocence, and had stood resolutely with her in the face of injustice. One by one, she embraced the bikers, their silent support a profound balm to her wounded spirit. They offered her bottles of water, a comforting hand placed gently on her shoulder, and a profound sense of safety she hadn't felt in what seemed like an eternity. As she was about to get back in her car, Sarah pressed a business card into her hand. "If you need anything at all," she said, her voice filled with genuine sincerity. "Anything at all, please don't hesitate to call." Maya clutched the small card, a tangible symbol of their unexpected solidarity and the kindness of strangers. She took a deep, steadying breath, started her engine, and pulled back onto the highway. As she drove away, the powerful roar of the departing motorcycles behind her felt like a powerful affirmation, a resounding declaration that she was not alone. Her voice mattered, and she would not let this harrowing experience be the final chapter of her day. She would file a formal complaint. She would speak her truth, loudly and clearly. And she would never forget the profound kindness of the strangers who had stood between her and the darkness of injustice in the Arizona desert.